doing much better. Next piece is a letter to the mayor about our budget, some budget requests that we have. And I want to talk a little bit about style and focus before we get into it. What's coming around the table is the letter that we wrote last year in May. We did not write a letter about the budget in general in the earlier part. We did not write a letter earlier last year in this initial section. So you remember this, the sequence that happens is the mayor kind of kicks this off with the March budget message, which will be on March 17th this year. So we want to get him any little seeds that we want to plant in for him so that he can pass that information on to the city manager's office so they can begin to do the actual work of it. So in past years, and ever since this commission was born, we've run down every little bit of the budget and made comment on it. You know, we think a sales tax increase would be great. We think the mayor's gang prevention task force is wonderful, and let's keep going and everything. My thinking is that that dilutes what we have to say. If we have a comment on absolutely everything that's in the budget, you know, if I'm the mayor, why would I read that? I know more than we do. You know, so I'm going to sit there and go through this, and about halfway down the first page, I'm just going to say, somebody else please go read that. So I would like us to focus this year on very direct, specific things. We kind of did it last year. I'm sorry, I'm shaking so much with my drugs.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
Am I doing my thing?
this is your thing now. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna drive, and in future meetings, perhaps ask others to drive.
I
don't want to miss
I
every
can't type
session.
anymore with this thing. I'm bad.
What are we doing?
So we have 6 ad hoc committees this year. 2 of them have actual budget needs. One of them is the public safety staffing, and what we want to do is advocate for additional 911, 311 call takers. And so that's a key piece of that, and that's something I think that we really want to say. The other thing is, and we've been talking about fireworks, is the fireworks ad hoc is saying they've got this online reporting tool, but they're only going to crank it up in May, run it through the 4th of July, and then shut it back down because they don't have the staff to actually take the stuff in and acknowledge the things like that. So it's a staffing issue there also. And the meanwhile, the equipment is sitting there. It could be used. There's just nobody to do the actual work. So what you see up in front of you is my proposal of how we ought to do the letter this year. And a little bit of background about how it worked with ESD. So last year we wrote a single request that said, we think what Environmental Services is doing about illegal dumping is great. Would you throw some extra money at it? It occurred in the March budget message. They got the money that they were looking for, and then later on in the year, the city manager actually plunked $300,000 into the budget that he controls, saying, let's do another big compactor truck. So if they go pick out a sofa, they can put like 1 or 2 of them in the truck, and they have to drive it back to the yard. By dropping $300,000 on this thing, they can jam like 10 or 12 in them, I understand. My numbers could be off, by the way. But they get a lot more, they're much more efficient in the thing, and they can do more collection when they do it. So they listened to us last year, and to me that this is the model of how we want to do this. We go with our ad hocs and with the entire commission, we find out what are the priorities that we want to work on. Then we sit down with the departments and say, you know, okay, fire, what's the problem? What does it take so long to get through? They explain to us that what our biggest problem is really the call taker. Then we go back to the mayor and to the city manager's office and throughout the entire budget thing and say, why don't you give them the money to fix this problem? So this is the model I would like us to do, and so it's much simpler, it's a much more direct thing, and I want to just see how that all works. Can you go back up? Thanks. So, very simple request, okay, a summary thing. I also want the ad hocs to take the lead on these things. The rules are that the chair has to write this letter. There's, you know, but I don't have nothing to say about these things. This is not my work, this is Jim's work, and this is Dee's work. So what we've done is say, here's the basic summary. What we want is call takers and an online reporting tool, and then we'll go down to the detail that they had before for detail. But that gives them the contact information and everything else. Now if you'll screw up this crossed out part. We talked a little bit earlier, a couple of you brought up the staffing issues. Look up, there was a council study session on January 27th. I was up until 3:30 last night watching this thing, and I only made it halfway through. Yeah. There's an absolute killer section about the innovation. It's all about innovation in the city. And they made a commitment in this thing with their new systems of doing things. They're going to hire 300 people There's 870 open recs. 300 people are gonna be hired in the next 100 days, beginning February 1st. So I was gonna say, in this letter, I thought we should say that, listen, work on this staffing thing, they beat us to it. So it's there, if we think we wanna put it back in to emphasize it, fine, we can do that. I think they've kind of stepped ahead of us and everything, and it's kind of foolish for us to say anything about it. I had actually talked to Sharon earlier about doing the same thing. Let's talk about the staffing issue and possible solutions. Could she do an audit of the whole thing? But they're already ahead of us, they're already working on it. I think it's just a waste of words to put it out there. It makes us look a little bit still silly. One last thing before we go back, and we're gonna edit this letter live and everything. Can you, the yellow part?
Pete?
Yes?
Pam has a question.
Quick question, you said it was the January 22nd meeting?
January 27.
27?
Yes.
Okay, and we can watch it online?
And you can go online to the live TV where they call it live. I'll send a link around if everybody wants. You know the yellow part. Okay, last year what we did is we tried to solicit some ideas from all of the districts to form our own letter, but only District 6 and District 3 threw anything in the pile. This year, Gary in District 1 and the District 1 leadership group put together a list of things which he has and will pass out. Gets you a cue. And District 6 also put up some of the things there. My view on that is they have their own paths to go forward with these requests. If we take that on and put it on, we're doing nothing but diluting our own message. So they can talk about whatever they want in their things, but we don't add any value to what they bring in. And if you look at some of the items here on Gary's list, it's, fix a traffic light at some intersection I've never heard of. So we, as a commission, it would be foolish of us, I think, to say, oh yeah, that's a priority, when we don't know what we're talking about. So that's the setup, and this latter section, I think, did I hand this out to everybody?
Yeah.
I thought I did, yeah. You've got all the information. This is the report from the fireworks, this is the report from public safety staffing that's in there that gives the detail and everything, and then just scroll back up to the top and let's just wordsmith this thing. I think first of all, do we want to put this staffing thing back in, or do we feel let it lie?
Oh, hold on, I have a question. Do you have a backup of this?
What's that?
Do you have a backup of this original?
Yes,
Thank you.
but you're editing live, and
I understand,
what
but,
you're doing is what we're going to have.
I know, but you have the original somewhere.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Olivia.
So, although they have come up with a possible solution, because we're not really sure if this solutions, I know that they've dedicated to do that, I think we should still bring it up, because I think that that's a great, I hope we can hire all those many people, but it's not really resolved until it's resolved, so I think we should still bring it up so they know that it is a concern of the commission. And like I
Why don't
said,
you pull the cross off, and then should we put something in there like that?
I'm
By the
with
way,
you.
we have 25 minutes total for this whole effort.
okay, well, and then I also want to make sure that, again, if we solve that issue, that would solve all the other issues, or at least half of all the other issues, like code enforcement, collecting money from the code enforcement, just administrative positions that we can definitely fill, that would also filter and go back into the 911 callers and the park rangers and whatnot. So I think we should put it in there, because it is a community, it's what the community has been asking, and it's not just from one district. I think it speaks to all the districts in the whole San Jose area. So we need to make sure we put
Okay,
that
I
in.
think you have a good idea, and basically from the next point on, Nicole, so how about using an outside consultant? This was kind of my seed into the process, and what ESD did last year is brought in a consultant group called R3, and that's who created the systems to move forward. And this was going to suggest something similar, that they use a similar approach. How would we describe our wait-and-see attitude about the innovation team's approach? What's the best way for us to say, we know you're working on it, but we want to slap you in the face and let you know that this really is a problem still? So who's got some suggestions on how to say it?
You could
How
start-
about using part from that point on, just delete
Where?
or
Sorry.
cross it back out?
I have a suggestion.
That how, right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, just cross that out again.
Commissioner Vasquez.
The whole to the end of the paragraph.
acknowledge and applaud
Hang on, letter. Nicole's gonna type this.
yeah,
What
the
we're
innovation.
doing right now is typing the actual letter, because when we do this in public, then we can pass it around. If we don't do it, then it has to go into the staff office and they do it and we have to wait a month to do
You
it.
said you wanted a suggestion as to how to word it.
Give us the words, yeah.
Yes, that we, the Labor Commission acknowledges and applauds the,
Go slow, go slow. She's fast typist.
okay.
No, type, you gotta
Acknowledge
type what the
and
letter's
applause.
gonna be.
Well, this isn't,
We, however you want to say it, acknowledge and applaud
Your efforts.
the 100 leadership, what was that called again? City Innovation.
City Innovation Team.
The City Innovation Team's
Effort.
commitment to hire 300 open recs before
Bill.
100 days. Or
Let's pull the detail out.
however you want to,
Yeah.
I just
We
got to give you
admire their
a
effort and
stream of
let's leave it
thought
at
and then
that.
we can edit it down. And then what you were describing was, the consultant is, so we kind of cover what you were describing, then you're a very good suggestion about using a consultant, because otherwise they'll say, well, we got that. But do they? So the consultant is really an actionable. So I think that's a good one to pull into that. Right.
Okay, this innovation team is effectively that consultant.
Yeah, it is.
Did you see the?
I did. I was able to watch the human resources part of it and watch their presentation on the pilot program that they're going to be using. And actually, the park rangers are now going to be using that as part of one of the departments that have been authorized to use that fast track program.
This council study session on
Yes.
January 27th.
Yes.
And just, you can skip some of the setup if you don't care and go great. I think it's 3.2.
3.2.
3.2 is the section, you
Should,
know.
should we say why we acknowledge and applaud, assuming we all do, that it will help the other issues? Or you kind of said it pretty well, that the staffing, solving the staffing roadblock or staffing
So by us,
constipation.
by us filling these positions, it will alleviate other, I don't think it's an issue, but other, concerns that we have, and it would help fill in the gaps for the, code enforcement backlog, and possibly even we'll be able to get compensated for, and instead of, we're gonna be hiring people and wasting money on that, but at the same time, we're gonna be able to get some of the money back when we're filling in those positions. So we'll be able to provide more public service.
I can't, this
Yeah,
is not
it's-
working.
So I think it's, you
So I don't know how you wanna word it.
the first
I
part,
understand.
she just
It's not working.
capsulizes it.
You got time.
An opening statement, this was that your original? Yeah, this is real good. City staffing shortage seem to affect neighbor quality of life across the board, because that's,
we've already brought-
that's
we
part
were
of our
talking
about
charter, so we need to use that line for
Uh-huh.
sure.
And we've learned that HR seems to be the bottleneck, and we'd like to see more resources given to HR to make this go. Okay, so now the question is, do we ask for an outside consultant, or do we bring up the innovation team essentially as that consultant?
I don't know. Whoever saw the presentation
Yeah,
probably.
they are actually a consulting firm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Some of them are. It's the city manager's office.
Yeah.
We still need to streamline the process. I mean, that's.
They are.
Yeah.
And if you watch that thing, you'll see the process.
Yeah.
Every step, it has to go back and forth.
we should say that we're going to follow this up. Are we keeping a close eye on this somehow? Or
There you go.
will be followed? We'd like them to bring it to us, perhaps.
Yeah.
I would strengthen it and say, city staffing shortages, it's not seems to, they affect neighborhood quality of life. And instead of on
Get rid
the,
of scene two.
Sure.
There you go.
and, instead of how about, we recommend.
Yep.
How much longer will we spend on a
we
section
recommend- we
before
recommend-
moving on to
Yeah, use
other
it,
possible topics?
or whatever, yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, in the
At what
budget
point
letter?
will we shift
Shift to what?
I have a recommendation for the letter, it's
Okay, we're gonna
not
finish this
related.
part and then we'll bring in the other.
Yeah, I was wondering how much longer.
And I like your follow-on, such experts could help. These experts,
Yep. Yep.
That's fine.
control you. Oh, no, it's not that one. That's
Do we want to introduce the idea that they use these consultants as pimps? So So the approach that several of us have had discussions of this, and people outside of the commission too, that if they hire a firm in of HR experts, not only could they teach them a better way to do it, but they could put their butts in chairs and have them actually functioning to help to add to the manpower that's available in HR. Is that something, that's what that's supposed to say? Well, same as simultaneously providing educated temps, okay, to reduce the backlog. So we're putting more people to work in the HR function.
I don't understand it, actually, on first read. So it might have to be cleaned up a little. We'll simultaneously provide educated temps to reduce the background. I don't quite get
And
that.
you guys, I'm not sure why you're saying HR systems.
Because it's HR where the bottleneck is.
Oh, it's not the staffing that she was talking about? that
No, it's
they're-
HR.
No, they can't hire, HR is the ones who hires the new staff in, and they're so slow, they're so bottlenecked there that they can't get it in. It's the process more than the people. So that was the idea, that if you added more people, could you do it? Frankly, the proposal from the innovation team is way better, because they eliminated the bottleneck in a clever way.
Right.
Should we drop while through backlog and just stop with period after efficient?
Yeah.
And the line that I recommended of we acknowledge through board, I think that's the second sentence in this
Correct.
paragraph,
I agree.
if we retain
Take suggestions off and have
We-
boards lead.
it. Yes.
And then that should be the second
Just move
sentence
that up
after
to
board.
the second.
After board, right?
Yeah, I
Or should
think-
that be the opening?
No, that's the second line
I
after
think it's the
board.
second one, city staff, the opening
No,
is.
it's gotta be after this, because this is kind of a setup.
Right.
Okay, so right here, where we have learned, move the new stuff up to there.
The acknowledgement, I think it does go as second sentence, and it goes before our commissioners would like to see, because that's a specific. And we're,
Right, right. I think that our commissioners needs to move.
so, again, I would request that we look at, we acknowledge and applaud as the second sentence, and that our commissioners be the third sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It
that.
flows better, it just flows a lot better.
Control C, control.
It doesn't work.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, copy
It
paste.
doesn't work off the keyboard.
I see.
thank you.
The code enforcement officer is really important, but I don't know how more you can underline it by just, you're saying it, right? So,
Yeah, we haven't really studied it, we can't quantify it.
Yeah.
We have specifics. 'cause
we're
we
saying
haven't-
it, so, that's pretty good.
and your the park rangers, this, also they're low on maintenance.
Yeah,
City staffing shortages.
but it's not, we're trying to tie this all basically into the public safety staffing, which is one of our ad hocs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are 300 positions, and I'm kind of assuming there'd be, that kind of
So
profile
you have that,
candidates.
the park
So-
rangers appear twice, you
Yeah,
could take that to
so-
second sentence out or what?
Yeah, can you take out after
second
board?
After board, yeah.
Yeah,
take
that,
out.
delete that part.
Oh, it's just duplicated.
Yeah, correct. There
Okay.
you
I
go.
see.
There you go, yeah, yeah. That's more better.
Hey, how's this read? We're getting there.
City staffing shortages affect neighborhood quality of life across the board. We acknowledge and applaud the city's innovation team's effort and commitment to hire 300 open
Open, without the S.
Oh, yeah, open
requisitions in 100 days.
That shouldn't be, we're not hiring open requisitions.
Right.
We're hiring 300
Filling.
Fill
Filling.
or.
to fill in.
Fill.
Full-time employees? Did you want to put that
That's
instead
good
of
enough.
requisitions?
So, commitment to fill 300 open requisitions in 100 days, alleviating concerns across the board. The commissioners would also like to see more park rangers and more code enforcement officers. We have learned that HR seems to be a big bottleneck, and we would like to see resources directed to increasing their productivity. We recommend engaging an outside consulting group as ESD did with R3. We advise and assist. Such experts could help HR update their systems and become more efficient.
I have no idea who ESD did with R3. I mean, there's
They
an
do it there.
outside, well, it's an outsider
Yeah.
reading that for the first time.
But it's to the mayor. So it's environmental services, and R3 was the people they hired to do the illegal dumping report. So yeah, it's a little jargony and everything, but that's okay.
So why don't we just say that? Why don't we just say
Because then it
environmental
becomes a
services
long-
with the environmental solution? or,
Okay,
you
she's
know, something
typing
like
it
that.
in.
Well,
There we go.
I have a comment and then a request. Their productivity, we have learned that HR seems to be a big bottleneck. There's an assumption they're not productive. I think we're worried about their output, and so I think we should replace productivity with output.
good idea.
They may be very productive people.
It's better
Good
language.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is, you're getting into it. This is great, you guys.
And then I just don't want to run out of time to shift to another topic related
Take
to
it easy,
this.
Ron, we'll get to you.
I know.
We
Well,
see-
not to me.
We say across the board twice, we should drop one of those.
And-
City staffing shortages across the board, either leave it there and take it out where it says across the board in third or fourth sentence, wherever it is.
One up.
After life, put period and then just delete across the board in the first line.
Oh my God, this is
Alleviate
actually
any
super
concerns.
hard. I want to just pause for a moment. Trying to do this for 20
Can
people
I?
is really challenging for me right now.
No, you're
So
doing
I
good,
just
though.
take the pace down, hold for a moment.
Okay, I'm hearing that if we got the content, basically here, the
All right.
wordsmithing, I can do.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
good.
Is that good with you
Okay,
guys?
Perfect.
Okay, yeah, I must say, it's what I hate.
Thank
Because
you.
it's not done in full public, we're not all seeing it there, but we'll get it out to you. Juan, go ahead.
All right, so my suggestion is based on the fact that all of these call out for the use of more resources, which we know we all need, and we've known for a few years now that the problem is insufficient revenue, insufficient money to spend. And so I would just like to propose that whether first or last, and here are my words, that could be wordsmiths, if this makes sense, expend funds in activities and/or programs that will facilitate increased sales tax revenue without an increase to the sales tax rate. I would like to focus on the problem, which is that we need to spend money to get more money. And sales tax revenue, we heard from the auditor, we heard from, what's his name, Lee? So that's the issue is, and I love that we want to spend more, and I just want to make sure that we spend money, invest money in trying to get more.
Okay, we have the money in the budget. The money is actually there to pay the 870 people that don't have butts and seats. The money is there, it's in the budget. The same thing with the cops.
Yeah.
You know, we've been using the unfilled position money to pay overtime to the other cops. So it isn't a question about raising funds. It's really just finding a better way to get those 870 positions filled.
I understand it, so mine's a whole different paragraph.
No, I'm saying
We
it
are-
doesn't matter. We've got the money. We don't need to raise sales tax revenue. for
Our
this
auditor
purpose.
just pointed out that Palo Alto has multiple
Understand.
times what we have.
We
Yeah.
need more money, but not for this purpose.
I'm not saying for this purpose, I'm saying that I would like to add that we should expend funds, have a budget item for spending money to facilitate more sales tax revenue. And I'm leaving it generic so that
Okay,
the
say-
mayor
say
can
what you
figure
want
out.
to tell you.
Yeah, and so.
I think
so
you're
here's-
talking about what they call the leakage of San Jose people buying and putting their sales tax in other
Words, give me
towns.
words.
Yeah. So here are my words.
We're running out of time.
Expend funds in activities and/or programs that will facilitate increased sales tax revenue without an increase.
I'm not
Yeah,
a,
she's
She's not a
reporter.
stenographer.
I'm not a
Go a little slower.
stenographer. I don't do this
Okay.
for a living. Help me.
Okay, I'll go a little slower, I'm
Watch your
sorry.
type.
Why don't we?
Can we take a straw vote first whether or not we even want to add
I
this?
don't want to add this.
I don't want to add this.
Not only because I don't want to type it.
Okay, let's take a straw vote on it then, yeah. Put it in? Yes, no?
I don't want to
One,
propose
two,
some
three,
idea, but I don't
four,
think we want to
five,
edit it right here.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it goes down, okay. But throw up your own letter.
Oh, no, but thank you for allowing commissioners the opportunity to propose things.
That's what the whole
Yeah,
thing
no,
is about. It's ugly and it's clunky, I must say, but
I
you know,
agree,
this
we
is
need
the
to
whole
figure a way
point.
to do
All of
that.
us write the letter. I don't want to write the letter.
Right.
I don't know anything more. Okay, good enough? Let's move on to the work plan.
Yeah, it is, but we're not there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ed's got something to say again?
Yes, sir.
Go fast, please, we're running out of time.
Okay. The your biggest problem in San Jose is you have 160,000 people, according to the Census Bureau, leaving the city for jobs in other places. And they come back, and they damage the streets and everything else, and we lose revenue. The problem is that basically the city has no job development for small business or anything else. Small business generates the majority of the jobs. We are considered one of the worst cities in Northern California from a cost point of view. So my suggestion is they take a look at how you're going to encourage small business development and additional jobs in San Jose as part of the budget process itself. Otherwise, the more housing you build, the worse your budget gets, because you don't have a housing to jobs balance. So that's the first one. The second one is, I thought you were going to take a look at, on public safety, having a 90-day study for the impact of homeless on public safety. Nope, didn't come through. Right there. The other one is on your code enforcement. Basically, code enforcement can't hire because they are paying the second lowest rate compensation in all of Northern California. The three areas they go for is police office, public safety people, inspectors, and construction. All three are in huge demand, and since they're paying so low money, they can't do it. So one of the comments would be to potentially have them take a look at setting their own training program up, because just like the police and fire do. Otherwise, they're never going to get people. Thanks.
Okay, let's move on now to the